Are you a professional pillow fighter? Or a 9-to-5 low-cost time travel agent? Or maybe real estate sales on Mars is your profession? It doesn't matter. Whatever it is you do, however complex or intricate, Monday.com can help you organize, orchestrate, and make it more efficient. Monday.com is the one centralized platform for everything work-related. And with Monday.com, work is just easier. Monday.com, for whatever you run. Go to Monday.com to learn more.
Well, I don't see the point in waiting any longer. So let's bring her out. The star attraction, the one you came to see. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Miss Judy Gold.
Welcome to Kill Me Now. I just want to say, this is so exciting because, well, first of all, getting you on this podcast is like, come on. Lisa Vidal, who is, you've been around for so long, not meaning you're old. You're not old. You're younger than me. But you have been a working actress and not like shit work, like major high quality, juicy theater. And your story is so fucking inspiring. So, and I love you because you're a Queens girl, which I love. And, when I was reading about you and, growing up and, you moved from the Bronx to Queens. So just a little background, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, welcome Lisa Vidal, who we fucking love.
Thank you.
And this is the Jew Bell, and you have half Jewish kids. So here we go. Okay. Woo! So, by the way, I never do this. I never plug shit because I really just do this because I love it. And I love, the people I interview. But the fact you're starring in The Baker and The Beauty, and it's like Israeli. And I've been hearing about it forever. And it's like, you're the matriarch of it's so fucking exciting.
It really is. It really is. I absolutely... This is probably my favorite character that I've ever played, quite frankly.
Wow.
It's just because I'm able to inject so many parts of who Lisa is at the core. And they gave me so much freedom with this role. And I'm just absolutely loving playing
Wait a minute.
her.
A network gave you freedom?
Pretty much. And, Dean, the creator, Dean Georgaris, who's the creator of the Cuban-American version, gave us so much freedom and trusts our instincts as actors, but also as all of us being Latin. And, really quickly though, first of all, I want to say, I'm so happy to talk to you because you bring the New York out in me. I'm such a New York girl.
Oh my God.
Love my New Yorkers. I love it. And I just want to wish all you guys, of course, the best of health. And, my New York people, I know that you guys are really going through it.
Well, so I'm in Providence. I'm in Massachusetts. We came to our house in Massachusetts because I feel guilty, but I was like, I live in a small apartment. It's 950 square feet, the elevator, and it's already in my building. And I don't know.
Yeah, no. You got to take precaution and you got to protect yourself and your family. Absolutely.
Okay.
So getting back to The Baker and The Beauty, and thank you so much for saying all those lovely, beautiful things about my career. And also, I was born in Spanish Harlem, so I've kind of lived in most of the boroughs of New York, but The Baker and The Beauty, what's so exciting for me, I did watch the Israeli series. I thought it was wonderful. Ozzy, the creator of that, is such a cool person. But being able to inject all of that yumminess into a immigrant Cuban-American family and just play against the negative stereotypes that, are perpetuated in film and television. Yes.
Especially
so important.
It's so important to see people as people who happen to be blank.
Exactly.
That's what we are. We are just fucking human beings. So
exactly.
I love going through people's childhoods because I'm obsessed. But so your parents, both born in Puerto Rico, correct?
No, my mother was born in Puerto Rico. My dad was born in New York City.
And then you were born in Spanish Harlem, but you guys lived in the Bronx.
Right.
And your mother, secretary, just like my mother, and your father was a tax consultant and a business guy. My father was a tax attorney. We have so much in common.
Oh my God.
And you're one of three. I'm one of three.
I'm one of four, actually. I'm one of four. I have two sisters and a brother. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I was thinking you have two sisters and a brother, and that added up to three.
It's because my two sisters are in the business. Like one's a writer and one's an actress, so they're always talking about them, you know.
Right. No, I forgot. I added two. Whatever. It doesn't matter. So,
are you the oldest? Are you the oldest of your siblings?
And baby, all the comedians are baby. Comedians are always most 90% the baby because we need so much fucking attention.
Right. I'm the oldest. I'm always in charge and running everybody else and telling them what to do.
So I looked everywhere and I could not find where you went to grammar school.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So when I was younger, we moved around so much that
and it wasn't
I went to grammar school so in the Bronx, Castle Hill, like that area, like near Black Rock. I'm trying to remember the name of my school. I can't even remember. But that's where I went to grammar school in the Bronx. And then when I was like 11 years old,
you moved to Whitestone.
We moved to Whitestone, Queens. My parents were like, the Bronx is getting tricky. You know, we can't even let the kids be outside. Too much bad stuff. This neighborhood's going, you know, not to a good place. So they moved us to a very Jewish Italian neighborhood called Whitestone, Queens.
Yes.
And it was like culture shock. And
but you had family there already, right?
I had, yeah. So my cousin's mom and her husband, he was a Jewish cab driver, and he fell in love with my aunt, Puerto Rican, and they moved her and her kids to Whitestone, Queens, out of the same neighborhood of the Bronx, because we used to live in a courtyard. You know, we Puerto Ricans, we stick together.
Yeah, right.
So we all lived in this little courtyard, and so he moved them out there, and then he was like, Manny, you got to bring the kids to this neighborhood. It's really great. It's safe. The schools are good. And that was it. I was 11 years old. We moved there, changed my life in a lot of ways.
And you say, I read that you said that, you know, you went from being, you know, it was full of people of color to being like the only person of color sort of in this new neighborhood, to being the outsider.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is so fucking hard when you're
it was it was very hard. I have to be honest. It was super hard. We were not welcomed by everybody. I experienced a lot of tough stuff there. You know, and quite frankly, if anybody was Latin, they weren't really talking about it.
Right.
But you know, I'm not sorry for any of it. I mean, my goodness, it made me stronger as a person.
Yeah. So
it made me stronger and more determined as a person. And I actually ended up making a lot of friends. And it was where I experienced my first bagel with scallion cream cheese, and I fell in love with Jews, and I went to my first bar mitzvah, and I learned all about it. So there was a lot of good to it, you know. It was just a matter of us showing people, like, or just, you know, kind of
breaking down,
knowing that we were a good family. Yeah, we were a good family. It wasn't, you know.
It's so funny because, you know, when I think of you moving there, I think of Archie Bunker. I think of, you know, because that was in Queens, that All in the Family took place.
Right.
And just that mindset. So you were glued to the TV and the radio as a kid, right?
Yeah.
And always knew I want to perform. So cut to, and I remember this with my kids. So a lot of people don't know that when you go to New York City public schools, all the high schools, like if you're in junior high school, they have like a fair and they all visit your school, or you go to a big, you know,
fair,
you know, like at the Javits Center or whatever. And they all have tables like Bronx Science and Brooklyn. Yes. And
I got into Bronx Science, by the way.
You did not.
Yes,
oh my God, you're a fucking genius. You did?
I did. Yep.
Oh my God, you're so fucking smart. I hate you. Okay, so neither of my kids.
I made it by 1 point.
It doesn't matter. So you're going around, you're looking around, like visiting the tables, and it's like people don't realize this because most people, they grow up, they know exactly what school they're in a town, they go to the grammar school, they go to the middle school, they go to the high school, and they don't have to fucking think about it. But in New York, it's like every few years you're applying to college. So
yep,
you're at this thing and you're walking around, and one of your friends says, "Oh, I just was at the table for the High School of Performing Arts," and you were like, "What? Is that exactly how it happened?" Kind of.
Oh my God, Judy, you're so good. You are good, girlfriend. You know what? Yeah, somebody that was, interested in theater, she was like, "Oh my God, I think I'm going to go to the High School Performing Arts." And I was like, "What's that?" And she explained it to me, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's me. I gotta go. I gotta do this." I didn't know what a monologue really was at that time. I didn't
Right,
know
so you
anything
got
about
something at the Glass Menagerie.
That's right. My mom, her friend at work was a model and an actress. And my mother said, "Listen, my daughter wants to audition for the High School Performing Arts, and they asked for a monologue. What do I tell her? Like, what does she need?" And so this woman handed her the Glass Menagerie, tell her to read this and pick one scene out of it. And I was a huge fan of the Carol Burnett show. And so I decided I had to do a dramatic thing and I had to do a comedy. And so I did a skit from the Carol Burnett show where I played two characters. I played the mama character and her daughter,
Right.
Eunice.
Yeah.
It was hilarious. And then I did the Glass Menagerie.
Those scenes, I just watched one because when I get depressed, I have to watch like Carol. But there's one, you have to watch the one where they're playing the game Sorry. It's Mama and Eunice and the husband playing Sorry, and it's fucking hilarious.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with a Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
I grew up in New Jersey, so your life is a fantasy to me. But I remember that, that the High School Performing Arts, for anyone who's our age, even though you're younger than me, is the fame school. It's the fame school.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I went to music camp, and all those kids that were like in the orchestra and the extras were I was like, oh my God. And I didn't know until the movie came out, but I was in New Jersey, but you went to camp too, which is such a Jew thing, right? Did you go away or day?
I got to get one. Yes, I did. My mother sent me to camp. She sent me to Camp Talcott, Camp Manitou. Yeah, she was, they really wanted us to be able to experience as much as we could as kids. They were always very encouraging, my parents, and very supportive of everything we wanted to do.
Which is why.
And so my dad used to be a delivery boy on a bicycle, and he used to deliver packages to the High School Performing Arts back in the day.
No way.
Yeah. And so when he found out that I wanted to go there, he was like, "Oh my God, this is kind of like karmic," because I used to deliver to that school and stuff. And as soon as I pulled up to the school, there were kids outside dancing and rehearsing monologues and I was like, it was electric.
It's magic, right?
It was magic.
Yeah, I sing the body electric.
Yeah.
So, what's funny? My older son went to Beacon High School, which is, they moved. They're now on 44th Street, but they were 2 blocks away from the High School of Performing Arts. And I was like, well, one time I was at the Lincoln Center Library, and I walk outside at like 3:30, and there he is with his friends. They're all smoking cigarettes and acting like assholes. And I get this look like, "Do not come near me." And I was thinking, my kids like hang out after high school at Lincoln Center. I hung out at Quick Check, okay? Or Carvel. Right. And here you are in the fucking heartbeat of New York, of culture and art, Yep. So you go to this school, which is sort of like, now this is another thing people don't realize. You're in Queens, and you have to go to Manhattan. And even though we're all part of New York City, it's like every borough has its own personality.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And as much as when you moved into your new neighborhood, like there's Judgy Judge. Oh, you live in Queens, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So was that another like major transition for you to, you know, be going into Manhattan? And first of all, the commute, was it shit?
Well, let me tell you something. It was really, it took real discipline because I had to be up early in the morning to get on that express bus. And hopefully I would get a seat because there was a line, okay, and it'd be freezing. But you know, when you're in high school, all you think about is you want to be cute. Right. So I'd have a little jacket on. I wasn't really like dressing exactly the way I should have for winter. Right. But, you know, I was so excited about going to that school. Some mornings, well, a lot of mornings, my dad was so sweet. He'd get up early and drive me into the city with all his shortcuts. Yeah, he's so sweet. My dad, I was like, Dad, where are you going? I'm going to be late. He was like, no, Mommy, trust me. I got a shortcut. This block. I was like, Dad, why can't you just go the straight freaking way? I'll get there faster.
Cousin cab driver to do it. Your cousin's husband.
I'm telling you. But for the most part, you know, it was, I was excited. I was excited to be going into the city because I have family who lived in the city too. So I was there a lot. But we were like right in the heart of Broadway. All the theater, you know, everything, the excitement. It was so much culture, so much life and experience for me. I remember my acting teacher in high school, Tony Abeson. What an amazing teacher. He used to send us out after, he'd tell us in acting class, I want you guys to go out during lunch and I want you to be somebody else. Don't be yourselves.
Oh my God.
Just pretend. So some days me and my girlfriends would go to lunch and we'd pretend we had a French accent. And we would go to the cafe with French accents. And one time he says, I want you to all go out and, you know, be like a homeless person, like beg. And a couple of kids came back with money in a hat. It was
no way.
Yeah, I'm totally serious.
See, but that's like, I mean, you know how like, all right. So you know how like people go and grow up in the suburbs and they dream and and you actually got to, I mean, it's so fucking great. You got to be like in the thick of it.
I did.
What a great acting teacher.
I did. Oh, he was amazing. Honestly, I don't think I would have, I don't think I would have gained the confidence that I did and the knowledge that I did without him.
Wow.
He was magical.
Teachers are so important.
Yeah.
So you're 14 and you get you start acting in a rep theater, right? And you're working with you're in the La Familia Theater Company with Raul Julia and Julia Roberts. I mean, fuck!
Taking acting classes. Hello. I know. It was insane.
And taking acting classes.
Yep. It was amazing. And doing repertory theater because my aunt used to work for the theater and she's the one that got me in there. So, excuse me, I used to do talent night and sing and we would perform at churches, at jails, prisons, and my parents let me do all this. I was thinking, oh my God, I would have never let my daughter do that now. But it was unbelievable.
Wait. What was it like performing in jail? Oh my God.
Oh my God. It was a little scary at first, you know, because we didn't know what to expect, but it was a very controlled environment for the most part. I remember just, it was a great experience because I remember feeling like I was giving something to people there, giving something back because we were entertaining them and they enjoyed it thoroughly. And it was very special to be a part of that.
That's what your fucking childhood is amazeballs. So then you get cast in Oy Willie on PBS.
Oye Willie. It was about a Puerto Rican family in Spanish Harlem for PBS. We shot 13 episodes.
Wow. So, all right. Now, this is a question I have because I interviewed Christine Taylor and she's married to Ben Stiller. And so she was telling me that she was in Pennsylvania, growing up in Pennsylvania, and she got a commercial. And all of a sudden, all the girls turned on her at school. Like, oh, you think, I mean, she wasn't a different person, but she was like on TV. So everyone was like, oh, you think you're so great because they were jealous. So you get this fucking show, Oya Willie. Was everyone like all cunty to you or?
You know what? For the most part, my close friends were happy for me.
Right.
For the most part, there were a couple of those people that I had to deal with that were
Right.
definitely jealous, that didn't handle it well. But I think I was the way my mother raised us. She raised us to have a lot of humility and to just remember who we are and where we come from, and to have compassion and not
Right.
bitchy. So I understood jealousy early on. I had gone through enough stuff that I
Right.
developed sort of a tactic of how to deal with it. But for the most part, people were happy. Definitely, actually, it was interesting because in my neighborhood, all of a sudden I had people who wanted to be my friends that really weren't paying a whole lot of attention to me before.
Right.
And I was like, oh, wow, okay.
Right. But you learned that so
Yeah.
early. You learned that phony fakeness and jealousy. And so that, like, you had the tools to deal with that. Like, because come on, anyone in show business, I'm a comic. It's like these other people get these specials, and I'm like, fuck. And I used to be really like, why not me? And now I'm just like, there's room for I just learned it. But you learned it at such a young age. What a fucking tool to have, to not have to deal with that head shit while you're, working. So,
yeah, and to understand it, to understand that, people go through their own emotions, and that,
right.
I don't
It
have
has nothing to do with you.
Right. It has nothing to do with me. And actually it was a real nice thing, because actually a lot of people that I wasn't friends with, I became friendly with, and I accepted their friendship. I didn't try
Right.
to make them feel bad about it, So it just was, I felt like, I don't know, I like to applaud and to help positivity grow, not to dump it with
Right.
negativity and ruin everything. So
Why you're not a comedian. So here's something I am fascinated about you. Okay. So you starred in 2 after school specials. Okay. Can we just explain to everyone how
No.
the after school special? So for people, because kids now, when we went home from school, especially latchkey kids, they had programming for kids, and it was an after school special, and it was always about, you had a moral, and it's, and I still remember these stupid after school specials, but they were so impactful. But you starred and they were always really subversive topics that was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And so you starred in, wait, I have to look at it, Class Act, A Teacher's Story.
Right.
And In the Shadow of Love, which was about AIDS.
Yeah.
Oh, so how old were you? How did you, what the fuck?
Geez Louise. I was pretty young. I think A Class Act came first. I remember Ron Lieberman was in it. There were some, yes, exactly. There were some wonderful young actors. And that I want to say maybe I was like 18 or something like that. I can't even remember. And then In the Shadow of Love came, and I was like probably 20 years old or something like that, where I played the older sister whose brother gets AIDS.
Wow.
It was actually really really wonderful, and deep storyline to be talking about back at that time, because
you're not kidding.
It was just the AIDS epidemic, and
It
everybody
was early in the AIDS epidemic.
Yeah. So it was really.
What was it like shooting those? Like, was it different than like shooting a regular TV show? Were there like sensitivity people? Like, we're going to be No,
it was fun. It was fun because we felt like we were part of something, and we were so much younger, and when I was 20, 21, I looked like I was 15. So it was like I was still a kid in a lot of ways, and we were just excited, but also learning to be professional. Kevin Hooks directed that one, I believe, and he directed. I think it was Kevin Hooks that directed that one. But and also just learning craft. Huh?
Yeah, so many people did those after school specials and became huge, movie stars.
Yeah. I know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
That's why I always love, I don't know about you, but I always love when I see something and I'm like, oh my God, there's what's his face. I didn't even know he was in this.
Yes, I love that. I watched
Famous now.
I remember I saw like a Room 222 about a fat kid who was acting out, and finally like the moral is like, you know what, just be yourself, no one cares if you're fat, and stop,
Right.
you're funny, like be
Right.
funny. And the fat kid was Bob Balaban, and he wasn't fat. He wasn't even fat. It was like, like you look back, fat now versus fat 40 years ago, right? It's like, oh, they're a little bit, they don't even look overweight now.
Right.
This week's episode of It's Judy Show with Judy Gold is sponsored by BetterHelp. And if you know me, which I think you do because you're listening to my podcast right now, you know that I am a big advocate for therapy. I think it benefits everyone. I think there's so many people who need it, who don't partake. It is so important for your emotional health and well-being. Therapy is fantastic. It is in every stretch of the imagination. And if you're thinking of starting therapy, please do it. But please give BetterHelp a try. It is entirely online. It's designed to be convenient. It's flexible. It suits your schedule. You fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. I have switched therapists in my life. I've had many, many therapists, and sometimes it's not a great fit for you, but don't give up. Therapy is beneficial. You can learn about yourself, you can process, and just be emotionally healthy. I'm telling you, do it. BetterHelp is great because, when I used to schlep to my therapist's office, it was so annoying. You have to do it, and you sit there and you wait, and then I'm telling you, doing it online is fantastic. And BetterHelp is amazing. I know a lot of people who've used it. So if you're thinking about therapy, go to BetterHelp.com. Let the gratitude flow. This is Gratitude Month, people. So you need to let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/JudyGold, JudyGold, today, and you will get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/JudyGold. You're welcome.
I can't find anywhere where you went to college, and you majored in psychology and communications.
Yeah, I actually got a theater scholarship first to Marymount Manhattan College.
Nice.
So I went to Marymount Manhattan College, and then because my mom did not want me to go away to college, she was afraid to let me go. Latina mother, very protective. And then I told my mom, I said, if you don't let me go away to college, I'm not going to go to college. So she was like, okay, fine. I had met a girlfriend of mine, Lori Vega, who at Marymount, who was a music and art singer student, and she decided she was going to go to New Paltz University to go up, beautiful. I was like, oh my gosh. She was like, girl, you got to come over here. They got some cute guys up in here. You got to come over here. I was like, really? Oh my God. So I went over there and I decided that I was going to study, major in psychology because, again, Tony Abeson, my acting teacher, told us if you guys go to college, take psychology, major in psychology so you can understand human behavior as actors.
Wow, that's so smart. I love this teacher.
He's amazing. Anthony Abeson, you can look him up, you guys. He's still teaching. Yeah. And so I decided I was going to be a psychology major and a theater minor, and I did communications as well. And I fell in love with psychology.
You did.
I did.
But you knew you were going to act the whole time. But
yeah. I mean, I knew I was going to act, although for a minute, I remember taking a lot of psychology classes. And one of my instructors was like, you really ought to consider this as a profession because you're very good at it. I did. I loved it. I sucked it all in. I was like, nah, I'm going to be an actress.
It worked out okay. But
right,
funny that, so when you do your characters, do you really delve deep into their,
I do. I mean, there's a piece of all of us in every part we play, as actors. Yeah. you know, and you pull from different things, but it was always the as if, right?
Right.
As if this is happening, as if you've lived through this, as if, you know, that happened to you or to that person. So there's that, you know, that jump to imagination, you know, that, and I remember, again, Anthony Abeson always talking about our choices, that our choices needed to be strong. And so that was always the process of what were the choices, and then the character study of who is this character? What do I say about myself, and what do other people say about me? And this is how we build on a character, you know? So that's why psychology was so important, you know, background and upbringing and all these kinds of things.
Oh, great. You get to understand so much. So you graduate, and then you start working. Well, you never really stopped working, right? So what happened was in performing arts, they didn't really allow us to work. So I had to work during the summer. Right.
And the only one that really got to do work was my girlfriend, Erica Gimple. She played Coco in the television series Fame, and they let her go do that.
Oh, my God. Yeah, because it was about their school. Wait, can I ask you a question? When you, all right, when you were in the high school of performing arts and you're like auditioning for a play, it must have been like 10,000 million times more competitive than like a regular high school. Was it, or did they make it so that everyone was going to be working or getting a part? Or
no, you know what? You had to audition for the parts. You had to audition for the parts. And we had a bus and truck company that Tony Abeson put together, and we would go travel to different schools and perform. We put this show together. Helen Slater, who played Supergirl, you know, wrote the music. She was freaking amazing. Erica Gimple was in it. Keisha Lewis, who's one of the stars of the Paul Reiser series.
Right.
Anyway, it was just so many wonderful students who were strong actors, and you had to audition for that bus and truck company. You know, you couldn't just, not everybody was allowed to be in it.
Right.
So it was definitely, you know, they tried to prepare us for the real world of theater and hustling, you know, and all that. But really, I mean, obviously the best experience you get is being out there and pounding the pavement. A lot of actors, young actors, I tell them that I was like, you gotta up your hustle, because nobody's gonna hand you anything. You can't sit home and wait for the phone to ring. You gotta go get a job and pay your bills.
The time they're like, oh, my manager didn't get me this. It's like, you get it. You do the work. They negotiate the deal. You
gotta hustle. It's a group effort. It's a team effort, and you gotta hustle. And I really try to help them understand that.
And be prepared.
And be prepared. That's the thing. I always say, study. You want to know how to be an actor? Go learn how to be an actor. You have to train, you know? And so anyways, yeah. So after high school, I went to Marymount Manhattan College. I studied theater. And to tell you the truth, at that time, I felt like I had learned so much in high school that I just needed a deeper training. So I actually started taking classes on the side. And I decided to switch schools, and I went to go study psychology at Marymount. And then what happened was, I had agents early on, and I hustled to get those agents. Back in the day, we used to go to the agency, slip the picture and resume under their door. We went door to door. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have computers.
Right. You had to go there, and then like some people would leave candy or cupcake. You know, like it was fucking ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah. It was very different. And I remember, I'll never forget, then there was the beeper, you know, so I got myself an agent, and then I had a beeper and a payphone.
Service. You remember those answering services?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's so So,
and I just started auditioning, you know, and that was it. I just kept working. And from that ABC After School special, by the way, I'm sorry, from the PBS series, people that worked on there recommended me for other stuff. And that's how, you know, my reputation.
Right. And also, people don't realize, don't burn a bridge. Like, you never know where someone's going to be. It's okay, you had a bad experience. It was one experience. Like, fucking get over yourself. You know what I mean? Because everyone talks in this business. It's like fucking high school. So you graduate college, you're working the Cosby Show. You had auditioned for the Cosby. What Can you tell me a little bit
I
about?
had to audition for the Cosby Show. First of all, I came back to the city and I took classes at Hunter College. But because I had my agents were like, listen, we have so much stuff that we want to send you out for, but you got to be here in the city. Right. So that's when I made the switch and I started auditioning, and the Cosby Show was hilarious because here again, right? The only things really available to us back in that day, quite frankly, were very stereotypical roles of, whether it was a negative stereotype or just an uneducated stereotype. That's the stuff that was out there for us, you know. Right. So yeah, I auditioned for the Cosby Show and I had to have this accent, and I had the hardest time with it because I was like, but I don't have an accent. I don't even know how to do an accent. I was angry about it, you know. But that was actually one of the things that I had to learn.
Do it. Do it. Can you do the accent?
Oh my God. Yeah, I could do it. I could do the accent now. It was hilarious. I remember it was like, oh, Dr. Huxtable, I don't know. It's like I have headache and then I don't feel good. And I was like, I just like, wait a minute. I went to freaking school to perfect my voice and diction to speak like a theater artist, you know, and take all these classes and speak properly. And I have to do, but I was like, Lisa, you got to get in the business. You have to be able to play different characters. But it was the thing that got to me was that was all I was getting to do. And so that's when it became unacceptable to me.
Right.
You know?
Right. And that's what's shit about the business. You get a part in High Incident.
Oh, that was amazing.
Right?
That was like ridiculous. That was ridiculous. I had done a 2-hour spinoff of The Commish with Michael Chiklis.
Oh, by the way, I love. Wait, can I tell you my Michael Chiklis story?
Yes, please. I love him.
Okay, I love him. So there was a comedy club called Comedy U Grand. It was in Soho. And in the late 80s, early 90s, like we all worked there. And Thursday nights was only women comics. And it was the only night we all got to work together because they never put more than one woman on a show. So I met all my girlfriends' comics, Thursday nights. And Michael Chiklis was the bartender, right? And
oh my God.
Yes. And he was engaged to this woman who was from like a snotty, I think she was Jewish, from a snotty family. And the parents didn't want her to marry him because he was a bartender. And like, she breaks up with him and like I don't know if this is the timing of it, but a few months later, he gets that part where he plays, what's his name? His first movie. He played from SNL, the one who OD'd.
Belushi.
Yeah, he plays John Belushi in this movie, and that like jumpstarts his career. And this woman and I remember like I would go to the club and he'd be bartending. I'm like, she's a fucking asshole. Fuck her. And he is the nicest guy to this day. Like I'll see him somewhere and it's like old, like those people who are like,
yes,
what I mean? So you get on the commish. Yeah. So he gets commish. And so you're on the commish and.
Right. So, yeah. So, and by the way, I met my husband at college. So in New Paltz.
You did?
So Jay, yes, we've been together for 35 years. 35 years.
Mazel tov and Simon tov and Simon tov and Mazel tov.
Mazel tov and Mazel tov and Simon tov and Simon tov. Yes.
Oh my God, you're like your story. You have. Oh God. Okay, go ahead. Yeah. That's so great. Wait. Were your parents like, ew, don't marry it? Like, were they? Did they want you to marry it?
No, they were not like that. Actually, it was actually quite hysterical. They were not like that. They were like, well, we noticed, you're not dating any Puerto Rican guys. Like, do you not like? I was like, I like Jewish boys with blue eyes. And Jay had blue eyes and blondish, dirty blondish hair. And he was such a mensch and so cute and so smart. And
what class did you meet in? Did you meet in class or at a part? Like
we met in English class. And he was so determined to date me. And he was hysterical. He found out the phone number to the public phone booth outside of my suite, my college dorm suite.
Right. Yes.
And he found the number. One day I get a knock at the door. Yeah. And they're like, oh, there's some guys on the phone for you. And it was Jay. And he was like, hey, this is your classmate, Jay Cohen from English class. I want to take you on a date. I was like, how did you get this number? He was like, I got my ways. And he just pursued me. He was relentless. And just supported me and just was so.
Oh my God! What was was his family okay with you not being?
So it's okay. I have a funny story for you. My parents, first of all, he was a charmer. He brought food when he came over to my house the first time. Talked up my parents, and they fell in love with him right away. And so when he was taking me home to meet his mom and dad, it was actually hilarious because he pulled up. He says, "Listen, I prepared my parents, and they know I don't like Jewish girls because he liked the Latinos and the Italians. So he takes me to his house. We pull up, and his whole family is standing outside the house. His mother, his father, and his sister, who at the time was 15 years old, right? My sister-in-law, Lisa. Her name's Lisa too. And we open up the window, open up the door, and my mother-in-law goes, "Hi, how are you? How you doing, Lisa? I've heard all about you." Right? Sorry, haven't we heard all about her? It was I was like, oh my God. It was hysterical. It was hilarious. So I go inside and they made dinner and it was a lot of fun. And then I was going to spend the night because, the drive was far for school. And Jay was insisting to sleep in the same room. And his mother was like, absolutely not. You're not sleeping with her, Jay. And so he brought a pillow and put it on the floor right outside of his door. And he slept there the whole night. The next morning, I'm out like a light. The next morning, I open my eyes and I hear somebody go, "Good morning. How are you? Did you sleep all right?" And it was my mother-in-law sitting in a chair watching me, waiting for me to wake up. And I was like, oh my God, where am I? And she says, "I just wanted to have a moment with you before everybody else." And we woke up. "We just want you to know that we've always really wanted Jay to marry a Jewish girl, but you just make him so happy. And he loves you. So welcome to the family." And
oh my God! I kid you not. Sorry. That she was in the chair in the room?
Yes, she was. And my father-in-law is so funny because he goes, we were telling this story not that long ago, the other day, and he goes, "You should have known at that moment to run, get in the car and run."
But it probably made you love him more.
Oh yeah. I mean, I love my in-laws. I love my family. My sister, my Lisa is my sister. I mean, 35 years.
So lot.
And they're my biggest fans, and we just love each other. I'm grateful.
Thank you all so much for listening to part 1 of Kill Me Now with Lisa Vidal. Isn't she fucking amazing? Make sure to tune in next week for part 2. If you like the show, make sure to subscribe and leave a review. It helps more people find this amazing show. 5 stars only, please, for the review. Thank you. Also, if you value and like my opinion, which if you're listening, I think you might, my new book, Yes, I Can Say That, When They Come for the Comedians, We're All in Trouble. It's now available for pre-order, and it'll be released July 28th. And in case you need convincing, I'll quote my dear friend Amy Schumer. "No one makes me laugh harder than Judy Gold. If I had to pick one comedian to write a book about free speech, it would be Judy." Thanks, Amy. So there you go. It would mean so much to me if you would check it out. All pre-order links are on the homepage of my website, judygold.com. You can get it wherever you get your books. Hopefully you read. Please make sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram for all upcoming virtual dates at Judy Gold, at JEWDYGOLD, like Jew Gold. Thank you all so much for listening. Stay safe, stay well, and as we always say, so long!
Don't forget to tune in next week to Just Kill Me Now.
It's Just Kill Me.
Oh. Don't forget to turn for part 2 on Just Kill Me.
No, it's not. It's
Just Kill Me.
No.
Judy Gold's Just Kill Me.
Just
Just Kill Me Now.